Hello and welcome everybody to a new episode of Bricks and Toys. Today is a comparison video between LEGO 2022 and LEGO 2024. It sounds supremely ridiculous to think that we would have anything to review in such a short time span. With today's video, we're going to see how fast LEGO is evolutionizing their designs and their products to make better, more accurate models. Today is going to be a day where I'm going to be doing a lot of talking with my hands and not with my face. So let's just go ahead and let's dive into this video. So before we get into the meat and taters of the video, which is going to be the 2022 McLaren and the 2024 Mercedes, I want to talk about the 2022 Mercedes and the 2024 McLaren. Now, I really think that there is some type of licensing deal here to where they only work within the two brands as of right now. I would like to see some Ferrari or Red Bull, mixed in with the LEGO brand, but we have these two. And it's kind of funny, 2 years ago we got the little, and then we got the big, and then 2 years later we got the little, and then the big. So I just think this is really cool and an awesome opportunity to put two things together. And so let's start off with the car. So here we have a really poorly built, and that's my fault. I wasn't very good with stickers when I built this. I went through all of my videos and I cannot find a single video of where I built this. I must have did this just as I was starting my channel, and I have no documentation of this at all. But this is the 2022. I think it's the W13, no, the W12 from 2021. It's one of those. But it's from the 21 season, Lewis Hamilton, 44. You could put the Valtteri Bottas 77 on it. We're not here to talk about details. We're just here to look at details. We have the normal 1x3 slope right here. We have some normal angular pieces, a really trick way to put in the mirrors. We have the flex tube for the halo. We have really weird T-pieces behind the wheels to make the connecting rods. The wing is pretty nicely detailed on this one, and that's the bottom. So now let's take a look at 2 years into the future, which is right here. And now look at what we have. We still have 1x3 curved pieces, but these are angled in such a unique way, and it really gets that profile of the vehicle. So let's just compare. I mean, look how much more full the new versus the old is on all of those things. Now, like I said, we do have a flex tube for the halo, so that carried over. But what I see a lack of use of here is the lack of these handle pieces that click in. This uses a single piece right here, I don't know what this piece is called, to make that halo connection point. And then we have paint bucket handles for the connecting rods for the suspension. Now what's really interesting to note between these two vehicles is the way that the wheels are connected. They're using almost the same exact method, which is these Technic pieces with a rod going all the way through and a connection point for the wheels to connect to. And the front nose cones of each of these cars is connected in the same way. And looking at the bottom of the car, you can see a lot of very similar techniques, but this one allows to have more of a realistic airflow going through the car if it was an actual car. But you can see a lot of the techniques carry over. One of the biggest things I did want to talk about is the tires. Now with this new car, we get these printed center caps and printed sidewalls of these slicks. Back then, we just got a whole printed piece that went onto a normal Speed Champion wheel that made it look like that. I thought this was extremely cool. But at this time, I did not know F1. And what LEGO did here was supremely intelligent. My dad would call this working with what you got and making the best out of a situation. Because what they actually did is they put on the Pirelli blue on the side of the tire. I never could figure out why they would do that. I thought that was like an electric car thing because I'm an idiot. But why they did the Pirelli blue sidewall is because they used a normal Speed Champion tire. This could be easily camouflaged to be a wet weather tire in F1. That is genius. So they only had this type of tire, and that's how they made it work. It was with using the wet weather color of Pirelli. I think that is extremely genius. So that right there pretty much sums it up for you guys to see the difference of the part usage, all the new parts and how they can be made to work. I mean, the difference between these cars are night and day. I know this was part of a 2-pack, but that shouldn't really have changed much of what it looks like. So that's the Speed Champions. Now, we have a lot more to talk about with the big boys. Looking at the 2022 F1 McLaren, let's just get a general understanding of the lines, the stickers, the piece usage, all the way through. The way that they did these lower foils, this air foiling, all of this. Let's even go as far as looking at all those exposed holes in those Technic pieces down here. The livery detail, the exposed engine block. This has push rod, it pushes in, both front and rear. And we'll just start with that and that spoiler. Now that we have absorbed all that information, now let's go over to 2024 and let's start looking at the 2024. And here you guys can see the difference. We do have push rod suspension in the front. We do have all this extra detail on the spoiler. We have nice sweeping curves and swoops all throughout the body. I believe that this is a new Technic piece or pieces on underneath that Petronas logo. And you can really see the difference on that. And then in the back, you do have the pull rod suspension, which is really cool. So the suspension's flipped from pull to push on this one. And then you can see those new pieces on that Petronas as well, giving that wing much more profile. Now, we don't have an exposed engine. We actually have an engine cover on this, which looks tremendously better. Now, I'm pretty sure we had all of these pieces that make this top part 2 years ago. We also have steering up here that we can use that moves the steering wheel all the way through. And then we have these elements right here. I don't know if we had those 2 years ago. I'm going to guess we did. But then we have this nice flex pipe with this piece to make that halo. We also have multiple pieces making the inner seat. And then we also have some nice steering wheel detail. Coming over here, we don't have such a nice swoop. Our swoop down is made using just a step down of these normal pieces. Our engine is exposed, so we don't have no engine cover. So this is really flat on the side. We don't have any steering up here. We do not have a nice finished air intake right there. And this being all Lego, it is kind of drooping down. I just noticed that. Looking at our interior, we do have a single seat in our interior. But we do have stickers on our steering wheel. Our halo is made out of multiple pieces. There is no filler pieces around in here like on that one. And it's just really chunky. Coming down the side rails here, I do want to point out how they did this lower side piece here all the way through to that McLaren point. Come over here. You can see that they added a lot more detail in that. And they also finished up that side so you don't see any of those intake studs. And then you have some nice curved pieces back in here that look really freaking nice. It is interesting to note that some parts do carry over, like the general idea of the wing with these pieces and this piece sticking up. That is carried over from this one, as you can see, we got these pieces here with this piece and then this piece, but we don't have nothing blocking off these front studs, nothing making this look more sturdy. And then we have a very dainty wing, but it does have that DRS, if you want to call it that, capability. I'll just continue to let you look all the way through. So you can clearly see that they really stepped up their game. Now, one of the really cool things I want to mention is, remember what I said about the Speed Champions and the blue Pirellis? They did it here again. Looking at these blue Pirelli flat-faced wheels, I do want to note we have treaded tires because we did not have slicks. So what did they do? They used the tumbler tires from the Batmobile to the Tumbler in 2021, and they put them on here. And how did they make it look okay to have treaded tires on an F1 car? By putting the blue logo. That is so freaking smart. Over here, we have the new lower profile tire, flat facing center cap, and a slick over here. Now you can put these wheels onto these, even though that these are high profile tires. You just take the tire and the wheel itself completely off and switch it out between the two. I thought about maybe buying a set of these to put them over here, but the issue with that is you can't have the blue logo on a flat tire or a slick tire. It just won't look right. I thought about that as well for the F1 cars from Speed Champions as well. Going back to these airfoil details right here, these move and they break off very easy. This is a very annoying part of this car. We do have those over here, but these are built more using those solid Technic components, and those do not flex. The mirrors are another cool thing to note. The building technique is identical for the mirrors on both cars. I thought that was really cool. Coming around here to the back, we have that lower part of the spoiler in the back with that 2x3 tile. Take a look. That too is identical to down there as well, but on this one we have a sponsor sticker. The engine components are clear, but yet more of the same thing and in the same location as the McLaren that is exposed, but yet that's a light bluish gray instead. The suspension components are identical, minus the direction of suspension travel, as you guys can see there. The front fender covers, this one has a sponsor, this one does not, but yet suspension build is pretty much the same. Then the front spoiler, lack of sponsors. Then we do have this center piece right here, where over here we have a lot more curved pieces making that front. But again, we have that piece right there again. Now with the front, we do have this nice swoop with this extra little bit of badging right there. Then we have a much more narrow and then pointed off front end with a lot more detail down there. Then on this one, we just have this detail, and then it's all these Technic beams and pieces all chunked in together, all right there. So you guys can get a really good look at these side by side. One really fun thing to note is the height of the back of the vehicle. This one does not clear my TV. It hits. But this one goes under. Coming around to the back of this one, it's all black in the back. And you do have this pointed part back here. Now, this is a piece that you, for some reason, really want to pick up the car by, but every time I do it on this one, I do manage to break it off because it's not put on there very well. Now on this one, onto the Mercedes, this one is brick built onto the car, and this piece is not black. That is the exhaust pipe. That is actually a nice highlighted piece and not lost in just pure blackness. We also have a lot more connecting points between the wings, but now what I want to show you is the underside builds of the car. So now I'm going to get these things turned, and there we go. We have them turned upside down or on their sides. And now you guys can get a good look at how everything's built. Again, with the suspension, you can really see how similar it is between the two. Then the inner structure is completely different. This one, the McLaren, has these two big center rectangles, and everything's built off of that. Where over here we have one smaller rectangle, and everything else is brick built onto that. Now clearly our drivetrain in the rear is going to be different, and the way everything connects versus this one, to where you can still see the bottom of the engine but not so much, and the gearing is all different. We do have some interesting airfoil pieces right here that these things always move. You're not sure which direction those are supposed to be in, where on this one we do not have that issue. Again, this is pull rod suspension, so you can see those springs right there in the rear. Where with this one, all those springs are tucked up towards the top because it's push and you cannot see it. It is very interesting to note the big hollow cavity in the McLaren versus over in here. There's a lot more going on. Again, we do have that steering that goes all the way through the bottom of the car. So now let's just come out and take one final look. There is so much more to talk about between all these cars, but I just have to make a few brief points to continue on because you guys do not want to waste your time watching me talk about this all day. So that does it for another episode of Bricks and Toys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. There is so many more details to note. I'm just running out of time. At this point in the video, I'm between 15 and 20 minutes. And I know at this point, this is the turning off point. You guys don't want to hear me talk anymore. And I know that by watching the analytics. So what I'm going to do is actually going to be kind of fun. I'm going to say, if you guys noticed anything else that really captures your imagination or you find really interesting, why don't you drop it down in the comments below, and we'll make a little bit of a forum about the evolution of Lego. Because at this particular point, looking at these two Technic F1 cars, I used to have the McLaren as the pinnacle underneath my TV, but now I'm really considering them the Mercedes. I actually ate lunch with these cars before filming this video and took about 45 minutes just eating my lunch, watching TV, and staring at these two cars. And the more I look at it, the more that Mercedes may actually be the pinnacle, and I might put that one in the Technic area of shame, which is my shelves down here somewhere. We'll see. If I can have them both by the TV, I'm going to go that route. Everything that they have done to make the design better, they have done. And you guys can see now with this video all the differences. So on that one, everybody, if you guys want to support the channel, there's two ways to do it. There's a little thanks button down below. If you guys hit that, you guys leave a small donation. Helps with everything Lego all around me, buying Lego and supporting the channel. If that's not your thing, you guys can always just hit the subscribe button. We're always popping off with Lego and other things. There is toys in the name. And you guys can also share this video and like and comment. Like I said before, comment your thoughts down below on what things did I gloss over that I didn't really talk about. And we'll start a little chit chat down there at the bottom of talking about all of the differences, because there is a lot and they're really cool to note. So with that, up next on the channel, I believe we're getting back into Star Wars and more of the 25th anniversary sets. So we're departing from cars. It feels like we've been doing cars now for about a week and a half, but there's just so many good cars. So we're gonna get back into Star Wars. So thank you for watching, y'all. Have a good one.